The plains of Heroes Continent ran red. Blood stained the once vibrant green, a testament to the brutal efficiency of the demon army. Their black banners, adorned with the sigil of a crimson eye, billowed in the wind like storm clouds. Below, the earth shook with the thunder of hooves and the roar of monstrous beasts.
Leading the charge, atop a colossal three-headed hellhound, sat Queen Elizabeth. Her crimson eyes, burning like embers in the twilight, surveyed the carnage with cold detachment. Her once human skin shimmered with an infernal light, reflecting the flames that danced upon her jet-black armor. She was a vision of terrible beauty, a harbinger of death and destruction.
Elven archers, once renowned for their precision, lay scattered like fallen leaves, their arrows spent. Dwarven warriors, their legendary resilience no match for the demonic onslaught, fought with the fury of cornered bears, but to no avail. Even the mighty behemoths, creatures of immense size and strength, fell before the relentless assault, their cries of pain lost in the symphony of battle. The demon army was a tide of darkness, consuming everything in its path. Only one bastion of resistance remained, a solitary beacon of hope amidst the encroaching gloom, the human empire of Arcturus. The walls of Arcturus, once thought impenetrable, groaned under the relentless assault. Siege towers propelled by monstrous engines reached towards the heavens, disgorging wave after wave of demonic infantry. Ballistas fired bolts the size of tree trunks, each impact sending tremors through the city. But the humans stood firm. Their archers, perched upon the battlements, rained down a deadly hail of arrows. Mages, their faces contorted in concentration, unleashed torrents of fire and lightning. Knights, clad in shining armor, met the demonic horde head-on, their swords flashing like silver in the firelight. Yet even in the face of such valor, a shadow hung over the human defenders, for within the city walls another battle raged, a silent conflict that threatened to destroy Arcturus from within. It was a battle for the soul of the Empire, a struggle between loyalty and betrayal, between hope and despair. The throne room of Arcturus echoed with the clash of steel. Prince Wise Malfoy, his face twisted in a mask of hatred, pressed his attack against the aging form of Priest Barrow. The priest, once a pillar of strength and wisdom, now fought with the desperation of a man defending his very soul.
You cannot win, old man. The Queen has promised me power beyond your wildest dreams. Join me, and together we will rule this new world.
The Queen offers only death and destruction. Her power is a curse, a poison that will consume your soul.
Suddenly the doors to the throne room burst open and a hush fell over the combatants. Standing in the doorway, framed by the flickering light of torches, was Queen Elizabeth. Her eyes, cold and calculating, swept across the room, taking in the scene with chilling indifference.
So much bloodshed. Tell me, priest, was it all worth it? Was your precious empire worth the lives of so many?
Barrow, his old body racked with pain, struggled to his feet.
You may have won this battle, demon, but you will not win the war. The prophecy, it speaks of a chosen one, a hero who will rise to vanquish your kind and restore balance to the world.
Prophecies are for fools and fanatics. I have seen the future, priest, and it belongs to me.
She raised her hand, and a wave of dark energy erupted from her fingertips, slamming into Barrow and sending him crashing to the ground. He lay there, broken and defeated, as Elizabeth approached, her shadow falling over him like a shroud. Section 5. The Queen's Peace. 15 years had passed since the fall of Arcturus. 15 years since Queen Elizabeth had ascended to the throne of a unified Heroes Continent. The scars of war had begun to heal, replaced by a fragile peace. The once divided races, now united under Elizabeth's iron rule, worked together to rebuild their shattered world. Gone were the prejudices and rivalries that had fueled centuries of conflict. Elves and dwarves worked side by side with humans and demons, their combined efforts ushering in an era of unprecedented prosperity. The Queen's Council, composed of representatives from each race, ensured that all voices were heard and that the needs of all were met. Elizabeth, once feared as a harbinger of destruction, was now hailed as a benevolent ruler. a bringer of unity and progress. Yet, beneath the surface of this newfound peace, a current of unease lingered. For there were those who remembered the prophecy, who whispered of a coming darkness, a reckoning that would shake the very foundations of Elizabeth's rule. In the dimly lit back room of a tavern, a clandestine meeting was taking place. Gathered around a rickety table were representatives from each of the races: a grizzled dwarf, his face etched with worry; a young elf, her eyes burning with a fierce light; a human merchant, his brow creased in thought, and presiding over the gathering, a familiar figure, Priest Barrow.
Time and hardship had taken their toll, leaving him a shell of his former self. His eyes, once filled with wisdom and compassion, now burned with a fanatic gleam. He was a man possessed, driven by a single-minded purpose to see Elizabeth dethroned and the prophecy fulfilled.
Barrow had formed the Anti-Prophecy Association, a clandestine organization dedicated to finding the Chosen One and preparing the world for the coming battle against the Demon Queen. It was a dangerous game they played, for Elizabeth's spies were everywhere, and the penalty for treason was swift and brutal. News of Barrow's activities eventually reached Elizabeth's ears. She summoned him to the palace, her anger barely concealed beneath a veneer of amusement.
A prophecy? You still cling to that childish fantasy? Tell me, priest, after all these years of peace and prosperity, do you truly believe that I am a threat to this world?
Barrow looked up, his eyes meeting Elizabeth's with a strange mixture of fear and defiance.
The prophecy is true. You may have brought peace, but it is a false peace, built on a foundation of lies. The darkness is coming, Elizabeth, and when it arrives, your reign will end.
Elizabeth's laughter died in her throat, replaced by a cold fury that sent shivers down the spines of even her most trusted advisors. She rose from her throne, her eyes blazing with power.
You dare defy me?
Before she could act, however, a figure stepped forward from the assembled council. It was the elven representative, her face pale but determined.
Your Majesty, the priest is a fool, blinded by his own fanaticism. We have seen the truth. You have brought peace and prosperity to this world. We stand with you.
One by one, the other council members, representing each of the races, echoed the elf's sentiment. They had seen the benefits of Elizabeth's rule, had come to appreciate the stability and prosperity it had brought. The prophecy, they argued, was nothing more than a relic of the past, a dangerous superstition that threatened to unravel all that they had built. Elizabeth stood there for a moment, her anger slowly fading as she listened to the words of her council. They were right, she realized. The prophecy was a dangerous anachronism, a threat to the fragile peace she had worked so hard to create. She turned back to Barrow, her gaze cold and calculating.
You have been blinded by your own dogma. You claim to speak for the people, but you are mistaken. The people have chosen their destiny, and they have chosen me.
With a flick of her wrist, Elizabeth summoned her guards.
Take him away. Imprison him somewhere secure. Let him contemplate his folly for the rest of his days.
As the guards dragged Barrow away, his cries of defiance echoing through the hall, Elizabeth turned back to her council, a grim smile playing on her lips. The prophecy may have foretold her downfall, but she would not allow it to come to pass. She would rule this world, and no power, not even destiny itself, would stand in her way.